Welcome back, Focus Learners. Today, we're diving into a lightning-fast explainer on the hidden forces that are actually driving your success. And spoiler alert, it's not just about grinding 24/7 or having perfect habits. We're breaking down S.A. Mahmood's concepts on true intention and figuring out why some goals feel literally impossible to hit, even when you're doing everything right. Get ready, because we're about to totally flip how you look at your ambitions.
Okay, let's dive into this with a massive central mystery. Why do two identical workers get completely different results? Picture this. Two people, same street, same business, same product. They both put in crazy, grueling hours, but cut to 10 years later, one has this sprawling empire, and the other is just stuck in survival mode, standing in the exact same spot. It's not luck, you guys. It's not talent, and it's for sure not effort. The secret is invisible. It's their underlying intention.
To really get this, we have to look at a classic physical illusion. Imagine a totally straight stick held up in the air. That's reality, right? Straight, solid, true. But take that exact same stick and dunk it into a clear glass of water. Boom! Suddenly it looks bent, maybe even broken, right at the waterline. The end point seems completely shifted. If you reached in to grab the end based on what your eyes are telling you, you'd miss it completely. Now the stick isn't actually broken, obviously. The water is just bending the light. Reality hasn't changed at all, but your perception of it absolutely has. And listen, this exact same illusion, it happens in our minds every single time we set a life goal. So let's connect that water metaphor to our psychology. The author calls this water our mediums. Basically, these are our invisible lenses. It's the cultural conditioning we grew up with, our deepest beliefs, our hidden fears, our environment. Think of it like this. Every time we carry around a limiting belief, we are literally pouring more water into our mental glass. We think we're aiming straight for success, so we plot our course and start running. But because we're looking through the distorted medium of our fears or expectations, we're actually chasing a tilted reflection. We're exhausting ourselves aiming for a mirage.
Let me give you a powerful, real-world example from the text. Take a street vendor in Rawalpindi selling food every single day. If you ask him why he works so relentlessly, his answer is just, "I don't want my children to sleep hungry." Wow, that is a pure, deeply powerful intention. That specific medium, a lens of pure survival, gave him the insane discipline to never, ever skip a day of work. But here's the catch. Because his true intention stopped at survival, it also became an invisible boundary. Once the kids were fed, there was no internal fire to innovate or build an empire. The intention fueled him, sure, but it also completely capped him.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is when you contrast him with a Silicon Valley immigrant entrepreneur. He started in super similar, humble circumstances, but his underlying intention was fundamentally different. He said, "I want to create something that outlives me, something that changes lives." His medium wasn't just survival, it was significance and legacy. That specific lens pushed him to take massive calculated risks, raise capital, and bounce back from huge failures. That intention built a sprawling empire. Both guys worked equally hard, but the lens they looked through totally dictated their ultimate destination.
So let's pivot for a second and talk about you. Why do you really want to be a millionaire? Come on, it's like the ultimate societal symbol of success, right? If I ask a room full of people this question, the initial answers are always, I want to stop working, buy a massive house, feel secure. But is that actually the real reason? So often, when we're chasing this exact financial number, we are just looking at a bent stick in the water. We're being totally deceived by a distorted medium.
Let's break down what the author calls the millionaire illusion. The surface goal, $1 million in the bank. But the reality? If you want a nice rented house, rides on demand, and great food, you really only need maybe $6,000 a month in stable cash flow to live that exact dream lifestyle. You do not need a literal $1 million sitting in a vault. So what's the hidden driver here? If we peel it back, for a lot of people, the core driver is just recognition and status. They want the millions so others see them as rich. The medium of ego is distorting the goal. And because your brain knows it doesn't actually need $1 million to survive, your motivation just kind of fizzles out.
So, how do we fix this? How do we find that true, unfiltered intention so we don't just run out of gas halfway there? Enter the 5 whys progression. This is an absolutely crucial tool to peel back those surface desires and totally bypass your ego. By asking why 5 consecutive times, you force your brain to ditch the socially acceptable answers and dig down into the raw, underlying psychological driver. It uncovers the thing that will actually keep you moving when it gets tough.
Let's rapidly fire through how this works with a specific example from the source material. Step 1, I want money. Okay, why? Step 2,
so I can buy a house. Why? Step 3, so my family feels protected. Why? Step 4, because I never had security growing up and I'm scared of being weak. Why? Step 5, because what I really want is control and freedom from fear. Boom! Notice that massive shift? The initial surface goal was cash, but the true core intention, the compass driving this person's soul, is freedom from fear. Once you know that, you can actually build a business that serves your true needs instead of blindly chasing a random dollar amount.
Once you find that core intention, you have to resolve the illusion. You literally got to change the water to air. Remember the stick in the glass? The only way to see the actual end of the stick, your true destination, is to take the distorting liquid out completely. You have to drain the dirty water of cultural pressure, borrowed dreams, and limiting beliefs, and swap it for the clear air of universal principles. When your medium is clear, your intention points straight, and your habits will finally take you exactly where you want to go.
Let's move to the next slide and see how this builds into the belief audit. This is a 4-step method to clear that water. Step 1, audit. You have to sit down and honestly write out your core beliefs about life, money, and success. Step 2, classify. Ask yourself, does this belief actually empower me, or is it holding me back? Step 3, reframe. You take those distorted beliefs and you rewrite them. And step 4, reinforce. You repeat those empowering beliefs every single day until they just become your natural lens. Let's look at exactly what a reframe looks like.
Here's a concrete, real-world example of a reframe in action. On the left, we've got a super common limiting belief. Money is dirty. If you hold on to this, your water is murky. Consciously, you might say, I want to build a huge business. But subconsciously, your lens is sabotaging you because you think wealth is inherently bad. Now look at the right. We reframe it into an empowering belief. Money is a tool for creating dignity and freedom. See that? That is replacing dirty water with clear air. It completely straightens that bent stick, aligning your subconscious values with your conscious goals.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is making sure these new, clear intentions are built on solid ground. The author gives us this universal test to check your intentions against universal principles. For truth, you ask, am I being authentic and honest? For right, does it uphold fairness and dignity? For longevity, will this still be valid in 100 years? Explicitly aligning your goals with these principles guarantees your intentions aren't going to twist, fade, or just totally collapse under the immense pressure of the real world.
Let's quickly spotlight one of those, the principle of truth. The source material outlines a really fascinating standard here. It says a fact is only worth speaking and an intention is only worth pursuing if it's beneficial, constructive, and completely aligned with a higher purpose. If an intention is rooted in wanting to cause unnecessary harm, or if it's just ego-driven noise, it totally fails the principle of truth. Your intention literally has to be a constructive force in the world.
Which brings us to our final ultimate filter. Would your intentions still matter in 100 years? It's a pretty provocative thought, right? Short-term intentions, they just satisfy ego, fear, or social pressure. But long-term intentions align with universal principles and survive way beyond your own lifetime. So I want you to look at your daily actions today and really ask yourself, are you building a lasting legacy? Or are you just exhausting yourself chasing a bent reflection in a glass of water? Take some time today to audit your beliefs, clear the water, and find your true intention. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep learning.